Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem. So moving on, we're now going on to interrogatives. So if we look at it here, within the words, ism, fa'il, harf. Within that, we done jumla ismiya and we done jumla fa'liya. Then we had phrases, and there are different types of phrases. The first three, here. These phrases, descriptive, demonstrative, conjunction, appositive, and emphatic phrase, they all match in i'rab. Okay. Then you have possessive, number, and prepositional phrases. They don't match in i'rab. Then these two, they match in all four characteristics: D, I, N, and G. Okay. Understood? Yes. Okay. And now we're going through pronouns, and the pronouns that we covered so far were personal pronouns. Huwa, huma, hum, hiya, huma, hunna, anta, ka, the zamir, marfu, mansub, majroor, muttasil, and munfasil. The baris and the mustatir. Now we're going through interrogative pronouns, question words basically. Interrogation is called interrogation, questioning. So questioning, interrogation, call it interrogative pronouns. Yes? So interrogative pronoun is a word used to ask a question. Where is the boy? So you call it istifham. So from bab istif'al, so fahima yafhamu is to understand something. And when you take a word into babul istif'al, it means talab, to seek something. So istafhama yastafhimu istifhaman, to seek fahm, to seek understanding. I need to ask a question. I don't understand, I don't know. You ask for that knowledge. Now regarding istifham, you can divide istifham into two types: polar and non-polar. What's the polar? You have a polar bear. Right? You have the North Pole and South Pole. So pole means two extremes. So it's either north or south. It's either one of the two. So basically a polar question is a yes or no question. A question which needs the answer is to be yes or no. Or you can have a non-polar question. And a non-polar question requires a specific piece of information. You can't just say yes or no. So we'll discuss a non-polar later on. For now, we're going to discuss the polar questions. And this is quite easy. You may have done our other books already. And once you've done the difficult or the structure done so far, this is very easy. So, in English, all you have to do to translate is you add do. So, do you understand? So, you understand? You add do you understand? How many types of interrogatives are there? So now, you add the word do, you add how many, you add an interrogative, even in English. The interrogative, you bring it to the beginning of a sentence, and there you have your question structure, question word. Now, in Arabic, the polar questions, the yes or no questions, we can look at it in two ways. One way is jumla ismiya or jumla fa'liya. So first of all, the polar questions, yes or no. And we're looking at this in which way? Is it a yes or no question? If it is, then jumla ismiya or jumla fa'liya. So a jumla ismiya, to make it into a polar question, all you have to do is add a. This hamzatul istifham. The hamza of istifham. You add it at the beginning, it becomes a question. Or you add hal. Ahuwa qa'imun. Hal huwa qa'imun. You add the a, you add the hal, it turns it into a question. Okay. Now in the Quran, in Tarkib, all you have to do is leave the mubtada as it is, and the harf istifham is not a slot. You just label it as harf istifham. It's not a mubtada, it's not a khabar, it's not the fa'il, maf'ul bihi, fa'il, nothing. It's just harf istifham. You just label it, there's no slot in Arab. Okay? So Zayd is standing. Is Zayd standing? So to make a question in English translation, you move the is to the beginning of the sentence. So the joining word, the is, are, were. So Zayd was standing. Was Zayd standing? They were sick. Were they sick? So you move that joining word, the auxiliary verb. You put that at the beginning, then it becomes what? It becomes a question. Okay? So aha'ula'i tujaru umana. Aha'ula'i tujaru umana. Are these businessmen honest? So what is it really? So ha'ula'i tujar is a mubtada, that becomes a khabar. Simple. And then you add a to it, it becomes jumlatun ismiya with a question. So without a question, these businessmen are honest. You add a to it, it becomes, are these businessmen honest? أهذه التماثيل آلهة. So we have here هذه التماثيل آلهة. So مبتدأ خبر. You add the hamzatul istifham, it becomes a question. Are these statues and idols, are they gods? Okay. Now, in a jumla fa'liya, so jumla ismiya is quite easy. Even jumla fa'liya is easy, it's translation. So you drank water. How do we make this into a question in English? You add the word did. So you drank water. Did you drink water? You put the word did before. You drink water. Do you drink water? And for future tense, you have to add the word. You remove the will, you put the will at the beginning. You put the will at the beginning, like a jumla ismiya. So you will drink water. You say, will you drink water? All of these then becomes a question. So in the present, in the past, you have a past, or if you have the present, to make it into a question, you add the word did or do. And for future tense, you move the word will to the beginning. That's how you make it into a istifham. And in Arabic, all you do is the same thing. You put the hamzatul istifham at the beginning, and then it becomes a jumla fa'liya with a question. So tuhsinuna ila abawayka, you are good to your parents. Will you be good to your parents, or are you good to your parents? Yes. Taghtabani ikhtaba yakhtabu ikhtiyab, to do ghiba. And akhaka al-muslim becomes the maf'ul bihi. This becomes the maf'ulun bihi. This becomes the fa'il fa'il. Okay. And then the hamza, it makes it into a question. Do you backbite your Muslim brother? Or are you backbiting your Muslim brother? Will you backbite your Muslim brother? So by adding the hamzul istifham, it changes the whole jumla fa'liya into a question. هل صمت شهر رمضان كلها? So it's, did you fast the entire month of Ramadan? By adding the word hal before it, it turns it into a question. Did you fast the entire month of Ramadan? Okay? Yes, everybody following? Any questions? No? Okay. It is very common for hamzatul istifham to come with a negative particle. For example, alam. So you have lam is negative, and you have alam, did we not? So ahlaka yuhlika is to destroy. So did we not destroy the first people, the first generation, some of them, not all of them, some of the first people, early generations who disobeyed Allah, did we not destroy them? So we have a negative particle, which is the lam, which is a harfu nafyin. It's a harfu nafyin, and the hamza is what? Hamzatul istifham. So harfu nafyin and hamzatul istifham. And what does this do now? This creates, did we not destroy the first people? Okay. So ala nashkurullah. So la is a negative particle, la nashkuru. And ala nashkuru. Should we not be grateful to Allah? Yes. Ama qara'ta kitab Allah. Have you not read the book of Allah? So ama, so is a istifham, ma is a harfu nafyin. Istifham, harfu nafyin. Istifham, harfu nafyin. So should we not be thankful to Allah? Have you not read the book of Allah? Did Allah not destroy Fir'aun and his army? So by bringing the hamzul istifham at the beginning, we make it into a question. Okay? Everybody following so far? Yes, any questions? Okay. Now this is a bit of something that needs a bit of attention here. When you have hamzul istifham, when you're asking a question, there's always a focus. What are you asking? So for example, if I said to you, did you see Zaid yesterday? Did you see Zaid yesterday? Like this example. There's a few questions. One is seeing, one is Zaid, and one is yesterday. There are three elements. So in this sentence, you have the seeing element. One is the Zaid element. One is the yesterday element. What is in question? What are we questioning? Is it, I'm not sure you saw? I'm not sure if it was yesterday. I'm not sure if it was Zaid. The three elements. So what are you questioning about? So I know when you have hamzul istifham, you know something did happen. But you don't, but one of the elements you're questioning about. So the questioned element, the focal point, what are you questioning? That must come immediately afterwards. after the Hamza Istifham. So because here, after the Hamza Istifham, we have Zayd. What does that mean? That I know Ra'ayta happened, I know Amsi happened, I'm just not sure if it was Zayd that you saw, or if it was Khalid. I just don't know who it was. Do you understand? So the focal point, that is must come immediately after the Hamza Istifham. So a Zaydan Ra'ayta Amsi, was it Zayd who you saw? So we could translate, did you see Zayd yesterday? But a better translation which depicts this is what? Was it Zayd who you saw yesterday? Was it Zayd who you saw yesterday? Do you understand? So was it Zayd who you saw yesterday? You got it? Understood? So the focal point must come. If we change this sentence around and we said, Amsi Ra'ayta Zaydan. What's happening now? We know Ra'ayta happened. We know Zayd happened. We're just not sure, was it yesterday, the day before, last week? I'm not sure when you saw him. Yes? Do you understand what's happening here? So when you have the Hamza Istifham, the focal point, whatever your question is about, that must come immediately afterwards. Yes? Okay? So did you see Zayd yesterday? Or was it yesterday you saw Zayd? Okay? And what can happen now? This ma'tuf can have a focal, this focal point can have a ma'tuf. So for example, Azaydan Ra'ayta am Khalidan. Azaydan Ra'ayta am Khalidan. So now here, what you're saying here now is Zaydan or Khalid. Was it yesterday? Was it Khalid you saw? Or was it Zayd? You have an alternative. You're not sure which one. You have to keep it like this. You have to put it at the end. So you complete the sentence, then you bring the alternative. You complete the sentence, then you bring the alternative. Yes? So yes? So this is how you do tarkeeb of it. You have the harf al-istifham will come here. You complete the sentence, maf'ul bihi fa'il. Then at the end, you bring your alternative. Ay am khalidan. So Zaydan ra'ayta am khalidan. Do you understand? Everybody following me? Yes? So أغير الله تعبدون. So now in this example, أغير الله تعبدون, our focal point is not the ibadah. Our focal point is the غير Allah. Are you worshipping somebody other than Allah? So we're not questioning the ibadah, we're questioning the غير Allah. Can you worship and bow and submit to somebody other than Allah? أشاة ذبحوا أم بقرة. أشاة ذبحوا أم بقرة. So now we know that ذبحوا took place, that they slaughtered. We're just not sure if they slaughtered a shat or a baqarah. So therefore, the shat is a focal point that comes immediately after the istifham, and the alternative, the ma'tuf, comes at the end after the sentence. Yes? So aba'idatun al-qaryatu am qarib. So we know am qariba. So this is the mubtada, this is the khabar. But the focal point is the khabar. So you bring the khabar muqaddam. So the istifham followed by the focal point with an alternative at the end, ma'tuf at the end. The same thing happens here. Mutawaddi'atan taqra'ina kitabak. Now what's happening here? There is no hamza istifham. It can be understood from the context. Sometimes from the context, the tone, you can understand that, no, this is not a statement, this is a question. So when you're speaking, or from just on its own, if there was no question mark here, for example, you wouldn't know it's a question. But when you have a whole paragraph, you have a tone of the speaker, you can tell, even though they haven't used the hamza istifham, that they're creating a question. Okay? So have you understood these rules regarding the interrogative pronouns? So number one is, we have polar questions, and polar questions you have yes or no, which is for al and ha. So hamza istifham and hal. You bring it at the beginning of a sentence, it changes jumla ismiya into a question, or jumla fi'liya into a question. And then we mentioned that how to translate these, did, will you, etc. And we said that the hamza istifham must have the focal point of the question immediately after it. However, you can also have a ma'tuf of this focal point, but this will come at the end of the sentence. Okay? So let's stop here today, inshallah. Subhanallah wa bihamdi, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, wa nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.